Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you all. Is there some reason why? We good? All right. How chante washte chiusapi. My name is Tamara St. John. I'm from Sisseton, Wahpeton, Oyate. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Welcome to everyone here and to those joining us virtually for the launch of the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. We're here to celebrate the formation of this alliance, which is in essence an interorganizational Native tourism network. The publication of the Alliance's 5-year strategic plan, and we'll hear about the current projects and next steps of its work. I am a member of Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate and also District 1 member of the South Dakota House of Representatives. It's my honor to be your MC today. We will begin with a prayer from artist and elder Gerald Yellowhawk of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe and a drum song from the Moreno family and their drum stampede. I want to remind you that when we are in prayer and when they are singing, to not take any photographs, as well as when the chanupa or the pipe is out. So no photographs during those times. All right, Mr. Yellowhawk.
I am very honored to have a part in the beginning of this meeting this morning and seeing all the different faces from the different reservations. It does our heart good. I have my son with me, and usually when I have prayers, he's our pipe keeper, and so I usually just like to use him for the smudging of the beginning of prayers. And this pipe is, as far as we know, the last 100 years, but it could be more than that. It could have been in the Battle of the Little Bighorn, or Alkid, the spiritual man was over there at the request of Sitting Bull. So he uses that. My grandfather, my mother gave it to me. It belonged to her grandfather. So it's a real honor that we still have that, and he will do the explaining. So would you like to, we usually use this to smudge at the beginning of our prayer service, but because of the restrictions in using this nice building, we are might just use one puff of it. But let's direct our minds at this time for this part of the meeting, beginning with a prayer. In the Lakota language, the spiritual man, when he gets up, there is a morning sun that comes every morning, a beautiful sun or beautiful star, Wichachpi. And when we see that, sometimes long before the sun rises, we always have this prayer in the language of our people. Mi chawa Elohai, mi chawa Elohai, Ugashila wamaya gayo le mi chawa. Wow, Elohai, Ampo itachbi iochlateyae mi echa wow Elohai Wamaya gayo miecha wa uelo heyo he. Tungashira bakantanka makha makbia yokogana wambaligaliskawa okawihe namakata unchimaka anavukta paye. Hatea topa nawania pi oyate. Hihaniki hele witayu oni hampi. Oyate kale witaya kawita hipiko hena. Omani washte wichayaku na ketiata taya zania kihune pikte. Hihaniki hele itko Boan shilanit hawaki haya wapitas niake. Iota lehan wokuze shitawa. Ata makha glakia makasi domania gachwoke. Eta heteloyate ota wichoni ekignakapi nakakijapi. Ukiksuyapi na unkiapi et ungashila. Unshiulapo. Unshiulapi. Onadaku wale echuma shipiki hale. Hoye chiche yunka. Daku ya iwoga laka piktiki hale na taya iukschampina. Oyate ki ha oichakiapi. Na tokiskele na iyankinkte na taya iyayinkte hetel. Le na oksape wichayakukte. Otunkashila unkayutapie. Daku shitaya yankek wena kakia pahaya boluspina. Wichozani unichilapi. Chakeoyate kiha petu kihale wichagalawaste uichakingse. I am asking the grandfather to look upon us with pity. There is a disease or an epidemic at this time, a sickness that is going across the land and around the world. And so we ask for grandfather's protection, that he will bless us and keep us safe. And that you that have come and have traveled here, you will return home safely to your homes and family. Thank you. All of these things. Omitakie oyase. What are you going to do? Are we going outside? I guess that's a plan. Okay. So my son is going to maybe you like to explain that what they're going to do here.
For anyone who wants to join us outside to smudge, you're welcome to. And afterwards, we can smoke a pipe as well afterwards, after our event as well. So it's up to you. But I know we'll get started with our event, and we will do an honor song here by our Stampede drum group.
We now turn to our distinguished hosts, the chairman and vice chairman of tribal nations involved in the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. We invite all of the chairmen and presidents of the 9 tribal nations in the alliance to join us today and offer welcome remarks. Some were unable to because of other pressing business. We also have Mr. President Kevin Killer. I believe he is online joining us, although he won't be speaking, unfortunately. It's always good to have him tracking the work that we're doing as well. We're very happy to have Chairman Robert Flying Hawk of the Yankton Sioux Tribe and call upon him to offer his welcome.
Oh, Pidamado. Omija Hatchede, Yuna, Santewa Stea, Napech Usa, they Hontoyatic, and we touch a head, wash a chamaka, head, Oyaton Kitam. A Hanim Homoxina Han, the Ximita was a Hatchede, Dakota Charge talk, Hemaku, Gahe Charge, Matokinazi, Duha. Wanted to greet each and every one of you with a heartfelt handshake. And I am from the Yankton tribe. I work as the chairman of the tribe. As a little boy, my uncle gave me his name, his Dakota name, which was Matokinaji. And I carry that to this day. That is translated, bear who returns to his place. So I was thankful and honored to be invited to this event. For many generations, we as a Dakota, Lakota, Nakota have gathered and looked at our country as the prayer was made, as the song was sung, thinking about those generations that came out in the morning and greeted that morning star and sang that song. And it is our life that we live, and it is a hard life. We've had many challenges, but this is a gathering to recognize those plants, those animals, those insects, the eagle, the fowl that fly in the air, all of those are one with us. And those are our teachings. We are strong. We are here today because of those teachings that have been passed on from generation to generation. Our life way is a life way that is forever. It is evidenced by us today, by all of us here gathered, so that we can share those things as we travel throughout this state, throughout this country, the Turtle Island. All of those things that we look at are meaningful to us, and we get strength from them. As I was coming yesterday, came through on the edge of the Badlands and felt uplifted as I was coming through there, thinking about our leaders that were chased into that land and hid, and yet still came through and lived today. The generations are evidence today. So I am welcoming all of you here. I'm just so happy. It's good to see all of you here. I have so many things that lift me up as I remember the teachings. My mother would say to me as a little boy, "Taku, wanzi oyade na cheche. Oh gosh, nakshi ye ashni. Oh gosh, ampetu wanzi ye aicha. Oh hehan storiaik." And that, I believe, is so true. As a little boy, it meant, I guess, the saying one in one ear and out the other. But as I think about that today, it's so truthful. We look for things and on our journey in our life, we're looking for it. And one day when we find it, we will know. And that is true for all of us as we work together as nations within a nation. all of us are ready to help, to support, to contribute to the growth of this country, as evidenced with our veterans who join the armed forces and fight for this freedom. But we are sometimes overlooked. We are human beings. We live and have a life that has been proven and tested and tried. And that's why we're here today. But we need to remember, we are one with everything around us. And I wanted to thank the drum, the Okawachacha, and the gentleman for offering the prayer. It is an honor to be here, and I welcome you to this gathering. Oh, Pidama, Pidama.
Pidamaya Itancha Flying Hawk for such a wonderful welcome. Next, we'd like to welcome our Itancha, Peter Lenke. He is the chairman for Crow Creek Sioux Tribe. Welcome.
Ohemi taku yapi. Dean peti duta ki nina wa stekta do. Il makpia wa chion kapi. Chante wa stea na pe chuz yapado. Waya nupa mishta kucha jeki. Yash washichu ya Peter Lenke kemachapado. Well, my relatives, I wanted to greet you with a heartfelt handshake and welcome you all to Chesapa Wakan, the sacred Black Hills, a place that is central to the belief, the way of life of the Dakota, Lakota, Nakota peoples. This is a place that is filled with power, energy, filled with creativity. A place that is near and dear to the Dakota, Lakota, Nakota peoples. I want to thank George Washington University for working so hard to bring this together, as well as State of South Dakota, the Journey Museum, and all other entities that are involved in this, and especially thank the Okawi Chashtapi, the drummers, the singers for bringing their medicine this morning. And thank the Atanchapi, the leaders of the Ocheti Shakonwi for taking part in this morning. You know, South Dakota is a place of majestic wonders and beauty. A place that is known worldwide because of the original inhabitants of this land. To many explorers, South Dakota held a special place in their heart. And that is reflected in the journals all the way back to the 1500s and 1600s. They often documented South Dakota as like a small United States, I guess you could say. If you cross from one end of this territory to the other end of the territory, you experience all natures of landscapes, just as you would going from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States. So we're in a very special place here. The whole world knows us as the Great Sioux Nation. And I know this for a fact because I have traveled the world. Everywhere I've went, every continent, every country, and knows us as the Great Sioux Nation and have deep respect for my people. I was often asked what that meant while I was out there traveling. And I did my traveling with the United States Marine Corps. It wasn't exactly a tourist thing, I guess you could say, but I did have my moments there. And everywhere I traveled, I was always asked, what does that mean? Dakota, Lakota, Nakota. And they teach us in the history books here in South Dakota that it means friend or allies. And that's kind of close, but a lot is lost in translation. And I want to share with you the way I was taught to understand that word Dakota. This elder woman from back home told me the best way we can put that into the English language, that word Dakota, means to be in a state of peace, balance, and harmony. She said, that's truly what that means. She said that we are a people of love and compassion. She also said that when the time called for it, we were also some of the fiercest warriors to ever walk this planet. And we've proved that. Unfortunately, in this land of wonders and majesty, there is a people here who are known as America's poorest and America's most underdeveloped. A people who are deprived of economic prosperity and economic opportunity. In the year 2019, South Dakota received $308 million in tax revenue from tourism. Tourists spent on average in 2019, $4.1 billion here in this state, which is a growth of 2.8% over the previous year. Tourism has grown exponentially in the last 10 years in this state of South Dakota. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming together and giving this opportunity for change. This is an opportune time to organize and to develop. The reservations are full of intelligent, hardworking people that just need that opportunity. Of people who are rich, unique, and diverse in culture that predates all cultures here at this time. But sadly, economic opportunity for Dakota, Nakota, Lakota peoples are few and far between. All too often, prosperity is out of reach. Where I'm from in Crow Creek Sioux Reservation is one of the smallest reservations in South Dakota. We have an average unemployment rate of 83 to 87%. We also have an annual income per person of about $7,300. Despite the negative picture, resiliency, perseverance, and fortitude are the dominant attributes of my people. We are a people who are highly adaptable, extremely resourceful, and very hardworking. All are catalysts to success. We were a people who, I remember years ago, my mother was a tribal leader and tourism was at her heart. She really worked hard on trying to develop tourism. And that was back in the day when things were a little more harsher than they are now, and a little less friendlier than they are now. She was one of the ones that orchestrated and put together the Lewis and Clark Trail, which I think a lot of us are familiar with. And she was real happy about that. And she come back and she prepared the people, and people the artists started to create art. The craftsmen started to create crafts. The culinary artists there started to create their food. And she was very upset. I was very young, but I remember that she was very upset because they spent all this time, all these resources on this tourism endeavor, and it was never supported. It was just all that I see of it today is a few signs here and there. I don't see anything else of it. And that's unfortunate because Lewis and Clark, be it who they are to the United States, are heroes. You know, to the European settlers, they're heroes of this country. Why aren't they supported? Why isn't that endeavor there pushed and nurtured? When tourism is developed in an area, a myriad of things follow: pride, dignity, inclusion, which is very important, economic independence, growth and prosperity on a professional level and a personal level. This is a chance to tell our story, the real story, which is more vibrant and colorful than the story that we know of today, the latest version. Again, I want to thank George Washington University and the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance for being a conduit in Indian country across the Oceti-Sakowin for economic and social prosperity. When we unite and partner, beautiful things happen. Relationships are created, dreams are fulfilled. I am so excited about this endeavor and look forward to the partnerships, the relationships, all the hard work and all the dreams I can see being fulfilled. With that, I won't take much of your time. We have a full agenda of many very exciting speakers and awesome things going on today. And I just want to say I love each and every one of you. And thank you for being here. Yahipi wopi datanka.
Thank you, Itancha. That was really wonderful. We'd also like to call on Vice Chairman Ira Taken Alive from the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe.
Jimitakiapi na ampeto itopa yushki ha lila tayayachim oyate trachante machiapi washicho yapi chajemitra Ira Taken Alive hecha wana makachlacha tonhe elwati na wamblich ikla tonhe mata ha iawasla te pohomnicha ithancha inum hemata. My friends and relatives, it's a great honor to greet you on this day. And I bring greetings and glad tidings from the Standing Rock Reservation and then the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. I'm very excited to be here today because, as you may know, Standing Rock rests in both North Dakota and South Dakota. So just like Sisseton Wahpeton, we're very privileged to be in a partnership with two states. So on the North Dakota side, the North Dakota Tribal Tourism Alliance has already conducted some of their alliance activities, such as the tourism test, and it was a resounding and wonderful success. And at this time, I'd like to recognize my fellow tribal members who are working so hard and have worked so hard and diligently over the past few years. They're joining us today. Jen Martell from the Sitting Bull College Visitor Center. Do your princess wave, Jen. I'm also joined today by Barb Little Owl and Eric Gray Cloud from our Standing Rock Sioux Tribe Planning and Grants Office. Please do your princess and warrior wave. It's very heartening for me and exciting for me to be here today because I'm in a room full of champions and lovers of our culture and our reservation communities. I'm also privileged and honored to be a part of a team who do the same thing. And that's, as we know, growing up as a Dakota and Lakota here in South Dakota, we've heard, we've been treated as second-class citizens. We've been regarded as less than equal to our neighbors in Bismarck or Mobridge or Pierre or Winter or Chamberlain. And if I asked everybody that question, have you experienced that treatment before as a Dakota and Lakota? This room, everyone who's Dakota and Lakota in this room would raise their hand. So I'm very excited today because sometimes growing up, we fulfill in our thoughts that prophecy that we are less than because we're from the res, or we're less than because we're Dakota or Lakota or Nakota. So I'm super excited today to be in this room with people who have devoted their time, their energy, and their lifetime to championing and celebrating the wonderful and beautiful things that we have in our homelands, in our communities, and in our families. And I see the good works that occur when, despite the sobering statistics, despite the grim situations of, the high crime, the challenges of poverty, and all that come with it, it's difficult to think that we come from a beautiful place and that we're a beautiful people. And I'm happy to see that's changing. And all the people in this room are at the forefront of pushing that and promulgating that for future generations. And it's so heartening. And I talked about how on the North Dakota side, we've been able to kick off and showcase some of the beautiful things that we have at Standing Rock. And it's exciting to be able to envision some of the other wonderful things that we have planned. One of them, as some people may know, back in 2016, Standing Rock was the site of the largest gathering of multiple American Indian nations and Western Hemisphere Indigenous nations in recent recorded or oral history. So we're excited about planning to make that a national and international historic site because people already do come to Standing Rock to see where this gathering took place, to see and feel the air, the land, the water that inspired so many nations to come and for us to help protect. So I want to thank the organizers of today's event for allowing me to be a part of this room, and all the wonderful people who, again, have devoted their lives, devoted their works and talents to showcase all the beauty, all the wonderful things about our culture, our lands, our waters, and our communities. It goes without saying, we have some of the best hunting, the best fishing, the best sunrises, the best sunsets, the best night sky full of stars here in Indian country. And I want to thank again for the George Washington University, the state of South Dakota, the Department of the Interior, and of course you as tribal nations and leaders in your own right for joining today, despite the presence and the hardships that we've experienced during this pandemic. It's great to be here today and united again to showcase a part that will help our future generations feel better about themselves. So with that, I welcome you to today and thank you for all of your hard and good works. Wopila, wopida.
Wow, what great welcome. Thank you very much. We are going to take care of the beautiful artwork here. Thank you. Clearly, it's critical to the success of the Alliance that we know that we need the support of not only our tribal communities, but also our leadership. And to have so many chairmen that are present or listening in is very, very encouraging. And those that had sent their support. It's my honor now to introduce messengers from our South Dakota senators and congressmen to share their thoughts on this important occasion. Senator John Thune is our senior senator, having served South Dakota since 2004 and is also the Senate Minority Whip. He has sent Becca Zerbst, who serves as the Tribal Outreach Coordinator, to deliver his message to us today. Please welcome Becca.
I'm of a certain age where I cannot pretend. I don't need these. But good morning. My name is Becca Zerbst. I am the Tribal Outreach Coordinator for Senator Thune, and I'm also a proud member of Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate. On behalf of the Senator, thank you so much for this invitation. And it's an honor to be here this morning, and it's so exciting to be here for this launch. When Senator Thune co-sponsored the Native Act in 2016, the long title of which was the Native American Tourism and Improving Visitor Experience Act, he hoped that it would benefit tribes all over the country, but especially the tribes here in South Dakota. He intended that the provisions and the funds from the Native Act would be used by partnerships of federal, tribal, and state partners to encourage tribal tourism, development tourism, and create jobs and improve lives in Indian country. So Senator Thune is very proud of the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance and its development of a comprehensive strategic plan. And he's gratified that the funds helping to support the Alliance's work are authorized under the Native Act. Members of the 9 South Dakota tribes working successfully together is, all by itself, a great accomplishment. Gaining the support of tribal leaders and building the enthusiasm of communities is a great achievement. I commend all 9 tribes of the Alliance for your work, the State Departments of Tourism and Tribal Relations for their participation and support, and the Office of Indian Economic Development for spending Native Act funds to help tribes meet, plan, research, strategize, and build a stronger future for cultural tourism and recreation, not just for the tribes of South Dakota, but for all South Dakota citizens and all the visitors to our great state who will benefit from the work you all are doing. I also would like to thank and commend George Washington University for their great work facilitating the Alliance, bringing development technical assistance to the tribes and underserved groups throughout the world and here in the United States. Now that you have a plan, a team, and a network of supporters, I wish you every success in your implementation and look forward to hearing about your progress at each step of the way. Thank you so much.
Pidamaya, thank you, Becca, for bringing us Senator's message. And Mike Rounds. Mike Rounds was first elected to the Senate in 2015 after serving as South Dakota governor. Delivering his message today is Tyler Tortzen, who is the Southeast Regional Director and the State Director of Tribal Affairs.
Hiani Washday, good morning. First of all, I want to say thank you to Mr. Yellowhawk and his son and the singers too for helping us start off with prayer and song. It feels good, and I know some of the chairmen said it too, that just re-energizing here. So like she mentioned, my name is Tyler Tortzen. I have the honor of serving as the Southeast Regional Director for Senator Mike Rounds, also his State Director of Tribal Affairs, also a proud member of the Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate, and I'm even more proud to be the son of our MC today. So a fun fact. Senator Rounds was really hoping to be able to be here to help celebrate this kickoff today. Unfortunately, had a scheduling conflict. As we speak, he's actually over in Lower Brule Country, meeting with tribal leadership and touring their Missouri River Shoreline Improvement Project that we've been working on for many, many years with U.S. Army Corps of Engineers today. On behalf of Senator Rounds, first of all, I want to say, thank you for the opportunity to be here with you and for letting us be part of today. And then secondly, congratulations. Congratulations on the official launch of the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. Again, given who my mother is, I've heard of this for a while. And so it's nice to see this kind of get to this point. I also want to thank, tribal leadership for being here today. Thank you guys for making the journey from your respective communities and for your powerful remarks this morning. Also want to thank my good friend, Jamie Wood, our state director of the United States Small Business Administration, for being here and for your work on this as well. And then to South Dakota Secretary of Tourism, Jim Hagan, who I think probably has the coolest job in the entire state. I'm also joined here by a colleague of mine, Ms. Taylor Reeves here. She's a South Dakotan. She's on our DC staff. She's the senator's lead on Indian Affairs Committee and a couple other things. And so we work closely together. I'm really proud to work for a guy like Senator Rounds and with my colleagues. Senator Rounds is a former state legislator, former state legislative leader, former governor, and now as a United States Senator. He really gets South Dakota. He understands the importance of tourism and its impact on our state. He also has a real pretty good understanding and respect and appreciation for our 9 tribal nations here in South Dakota. A fun fact that people don't really realize that I like to share, Senator Rounds' leadership team, we have tribal members on staff on top of our entire crew that really cares about helping South Dakotans. For example, our chief of staff, he's a Sisseton-Wahpeton guy. His mother is a longtime, well-respected IHS nurse. Our deputy chief of staff and general counsel, who runs our DC shop, is a Cheyenne River tribal member. So again, it's kind of a neat deal. We really have a good team that we really want to try to tackle some things. Now, former governor of South Dakota, George S. Mickelson, whose administration created the Department of Tourism, I believe, also worked with tribal partners to create the Year of Reconciliation in 1990, which helped create Native American Day as a holiday here in South Dakota. He used to say things get done by people who show up. And I think today is a testament to that. In that spirit, it's so great to see so many partners coming together to make this day a reality. The collaboration of the 9 tribal nations here in South Dakota, the state and federal partners, we've heard it already this morning too, George Washington University, and the local communities for coming together to create this additional pathway to help share our rich history and culture to the rest of the world. It's really phenomenal. It's also nice to see South Dakota being one of the first states to take advantage of the appropriation through the implementation of the Native Act, which Senator Rounds was pleased to co-sponsor in the 114th Congress. And as a member of the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, we stand ready to assist wherever we can, again, to move the needle for not only our tribal members, but for the state and for our nation as a whole. And so, again, congratulations to the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance for your kickoff today and for the kickoff of your guys' 5-year plan. And we look forward to seeing your success and impact along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tortzen. Well done. Somebody must have raised you well. When I first entered into politics, it was kind of a joke between Tyler and I that people knew, oh, you're Tyler's mom. And so I'm trying to make a comeback so that he is getting that too. But thank you for bringing us the message from Senator Rounds. Also sending us a message today is Congressman Dusty Johnson, who has served South Dakota in the U.S. House of Representatives since 2019. Bringing us his message is Amy Camp, who is Casework Manager and Tribal Relations Coordinator.
Good morning. It's always hard to follow the 2 senators' office because they always speak so eloquently and they steal all of my remarks. I'm just kidding. You guys were great. But like Tamara said, I am Amy Camp and I am with Dusty's office. I've been with him since day 1 when he's been in the House. I recently actually moved out here from Aberdeen. So it's an honor to actually live here in the hills and to just every day partake in Indian country, and just it always amazes me to be around it. And yeah, I'm just very happy to be here. Dusty does send his congratulations on this wonderful launch on this event. He has been part of state government for many years prior to being part of the House. So he takes this very seriously and he's very excited. Just like Tyler and Becca had mentioned, using the Native Act funds and being able to, bring these collaborators together and to do something like this. It's amazing. Dusty actually was named the third most influential Congress member for Indian Affairs for the 116th Congress recently. It's an honor to work for somebody who takes his job seriously in helping members in South Dakota. And, I always hear him say that sometimes we focus on the home runs when it comes to Indian country and helping its members. But, he's really focused on the double hitters, the triple hitters. I don't know baseball terms that well. I'm trying my best to say what he says, but I'm also not a Congress member. But, he actually recently was able to sign into law the Ben Rifle Post Office in Rosebud. We were able to rename that and dedicate that to him recently, actually in July. So it was an honor being part of that and just to celebrate such a influential member of South Dakota and what he's done for Native Americans here. And it was amazing to hear the stories from his family, to be there in Rosebud. The drummers were there as well. So to hear them twice in just 2 months is amazing. They're wonderful. He recently also has a Native American Veterans Bill. It's a bill that is connecting Native American veterans to the VA and extending the Vet Success Program to tribal colleges and universities in South Dakota. So that was an amazing opportunity here I think that was in May when that was signed. He actually was recently, I thought last week, he was named one of 2 House members to be awarded the Transparency and Accountability Award from a nonpartisan Congressional Management Foundation. This award is really a wonderful honor to receive. It's basically this congressional foundation that looks at the staff, the members, and what they're doing to, their states and how they're being transparent and accountable, how they're helping South Dakotans or their original from their states. And to be named one of 2 people in the entire House of Representatives is an honor. With that, I just want to say that we are committed to helping, to being accessible, to being transparent. So please reach out to us. We'd be, whatever you guys need, we want to be there for you. We want to hear you. We want to be connected. And again, just thank you so much for this opportunity. It's an honor to be here. It was an honor to hear from you guys this morning. You guys' words were powerful. And congratulations again on this wonderful launch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy, for your words. Congressman Dusty Johnson is somebody that has visited our tribal archives, and I've had the opportunity to visit with him in depth on our tribal history. And that was really enjoyable to me to see some of the legislation after that. I'm sure it's as a result of my conversation with him. And thanks to both of our senators for their sponsorship of the Native Act and all of the delegation for their support for South Dakota and U.S. tribes. I happen to be down at IANTA, which is the National Convention for American Indian Tourism. And we got word that the Native Act had passed. And so we began to look at it. At the time, I had no idea what the result of that would be. So it's really amazing to be standing here now and working with the good people that are here. Next. We are honored that our next speaker comes to us virtually from Colorado, where she works as the acting director of the Office of Indian Economic Development and Chief of the Division of Economic Development. Denise is a member of the Tuscarora Nation with more than 2 decades experience at the Department of Health and Human Services, Administration and Native Americans, and the Office of Head Start. She has more than 20 years experience in strategic planning and 7 years of that focused on tribal economic development.
Shwant Eskenahay, greetings. I was delighted to accept this invitation to speak at an event that launches the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance Development Plan, which is supported through a collaborative effort between the Office of Indian Economic Development and George Washington University. I'm participating because I value, and the administration I work for values, teamwork, professionalism, partnerships, and getting results, as evidenced by the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance's work and the fact that the South Dakota team has come to the end of the assessment and planning stage and can now publish the implementation plan. I know from my own work in strategic planning that movement forward, whether it be to develop or improve, first requires review of the current status as compared to where the projects intend to lead, what it is going to take to get there, and how to close any gaps. In order to succeed in implementation, efforts must include identifying and attracting the people needed for a successful project, which includes a team with the right skills and enthusiasm and the willingness to partner to fill any skill or resource gaps that exist. 2 years ago, representatives from all 9 tribes of South Dakota came together, attracting local, state, and federal partners to join and form a team assessing the potential for Native tourism in South Dakota. The South Dakota team had an excellent facilitator and technical expert, the George Washington University International Institute of Tourism Studies, to help them do an assessment and create a plan. This team had a source of modest funds to get them started, and I'm proud to say that our Office of Indian Economic Development was instrumental in providing that financial support. The funds were authorized and appropriated through the Native Act of 2016 by a group of U.S. senators and representatives, including South Dakota congressional delegation, who were prominent among them. The South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance assessment is complete, and there is a lot of hard work ahead, but the report shows that South Dakota's current situation is full of enormous tourism potential. This includes amazing assets, including 145 natural, cultural, and heritage attractions, proximity to mainstream tourism hubs, a history of entrepreneurship with your tribal communities, revealing resilience. 4 of the South Dakota reservations already have emerging destinations and potential tourism offices, numerous state and federal partners, and unity in 7 council fires network with agreement on the alliance as a catalyst for growth. I'm excited for the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance's next 5 years as the strategies are carried out, including creating and delivering iconic Native experiences, improving infrastructure, enabling new tourism businesses, increasing public awareness of tourism offerings, and managing tourism collaboratively. Everyone deserves credit and congratulations for this monumental achievement. From Capitol Hill legislative vision and White House agreement to federal and state agencies pitching in when possible, to local communities and existing nonprofits adding value, and most of all to the 9 tribes and an academic institution with expertise in international tourism development. But one fact stands out. None of the progress would be happening without the agreement to do the work, along with a commitment to do this work together. Trust me, I know it's not been easy, but the work has been very productive. The South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance is one of the first tribal alliances in the nation to attract these funds and begin the South Dakota tourism development journey. What this group is pursuing is groundbreaking. Now that the plan is made, tribally driven tourism success is on the horizon using the strategies selected, fortified by another grant made available by the Office of Indian Economic Development, and with the excellent guidance of George Washington University. I congratulate the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance, and I wish the team every success.
Next, we have someone well known to the Alliance, Selene Matus, Executive Director of the George Washington University International Institute of Tourism Studies, that has helped to guide the formation of this alliance and the development of the 5-year strategic plan. George Washington University and people like Selene, specifically her, have done so much to help to educate us and guide us. And make no mistake, this is the tribe's work in tribal tourism. And with the guidance of people like Selene, have brought us here today. Please welcome Selene.
So my adjustments are to the mic first for my height and my second pair of eyes. Thank you so much, Representative St. John. What a wonderful day it is to be here with all of you for this momentous occasion. I join everyone who has spoken before me and offered powerful remarks, and congratulations to all members of the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. You've created this alliance, but what do we mean by alliance and how do they work? Alliances are not organizations, they're not commissions or councils. An alliance is a network, a group of interconnected and interrelated people and organizations who volunteer to work toward a common vision. Several of the speakers have noted that beyond the tribes in South Dakota, there are many other entities in the alliance that have said yes and joined the tribes and pulled together and contributed in various ways to make the formation and planning of this alliance possible. These included representatives from state and federal agencies, the congressional delegation, state and tribal colleges, nonprofits, community development corporations, South Dakota's tourism industry, tourism entrepreneurs, funders, including the Department of the Interior's Office of Indian Economic Development, and mentors. And I am thinking of a very specific mentor who is a North Dakota native and who served as tribal tourism coordinator at the BIA's Division of Transportation, who is not with us today, Mr. Ed Hall. The George Washington University International Institute of Tourism Studies was also your partner. We, a humble guide and facilitator to this alliance, providing technical assistance to the real change makers. Each of you are the change makers, the participants and the stewards of the vision and the plan for Native tourism development and management. Progress has been made for sure, because many people that were needed to make this alliance work overcame the unexpected upheaval of COVID-19 and continued to join our monthly alliance meetings, many activities, all through the pandemic, all via Zoom. This was impressive and unprecedented, perhaps. Other demonstration projects have also followed this formula. With us today are representatives from the North Dakota Native Tourism Alliance, and we'll be hearing from them during lunch, a network that has been in operation a few years longer than South Dakota's and also is guided by GW. These networks lead the way for other regions and state and offer lessons learned and case studies that may be helpful to other alliances that form in the future. Because tourism is a fragmented industry, working together on tourism development requires a high level of coordination, cooperation, and collaboration. Interaction and dialogue are critical. Every voice from every sector is important in fostering that ongoing dialogue that creates momentum and builds trust. And as we are sure, trust is key to making any initiative, especially this network, succeed. With the launch today, the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance establishes its vision, which is that by 2025, tribal nations are actively working with industry and state and federal partners to develop Native American tourism experiences that are attracting visitors, encouraging them to stay and experience more in tribal nations, ultimately bolstering local economies and the well-being of Native American communities. The Alliance has adopted guiding principles that are dear to tribal leaders and critical to tourism development success. And these include unity, education, and self-sufficiency, among others. Denise outlined earlier the main
goals of this alliance, which range from creating and delivering iconic Native American experiences to increasing awareness of Native American tourism offerings in South Dakota among key market segments, to managing it all collaboratively. The launch of a plan is significant. I completely agree, and an important early step. But sustainable tourism development takes time. It requires an ongoing investment of time, resources, and effort. It is a long-haul endeavor. Over time, there will be a few additional short-term achievements, but many of the lasting fruits of your labor will come midterm and long-term after commitment and diligence by Alliance members in carrying out the strategies. So I urge you to make a continuous investment and sustained effort in the initiative over the next 5 years. I humbly ask tribal leaders, state leaders, congressional leaders, and all the Native public sector, industry, and nonprofit partners who have so far been so instrumental in the Alliance to please stay the course. Continue to find ways to unify, educate, and sustain each other. Celebrate your milestones together and have each other's back. We will be here with you too in the background. I am so proud of your success and very hopeful of your future. Thank you.
As we have heard from our previous speakers, tribal leaders here at home and leaders who represent us in Washington, D.C. support the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance with great enthusiasm. Fortunately, we have the same kind of enthusiasm in our state leaders. At this point, I'd like to recognize Representative Sean Bordeaux, who is here in the audience. And as somebody that has been supportive of this effort from the beginning and has attended every meeting, even during COVID, it's important. I wish we had more of our legislators, and we will, that support the same way that he does for us as a body and also for his nation. We also enjoyed the support of our state leaders. We welcome 2 cabinet secretaries from the state of South Dakota to share their thoughts on the Alliance and its development plan. First, we'll hear from the Secretary of South Dakota Department of Tribal Relations, Dave Flute, followed by the Secretary of Tourism, Mr. Jim Hagan.
Homitakiopi, oyan petugde, de tateo na iuha chontewaste na pechiuzapi. Oyan petugde taku omniche wiuhapi ki esa Native Tourism Alliance iwonda kapikta. Naha taku ichanopi ki henina yomakpi. Naha Representative St. John naha wopida ichichiapi do taku woma hidake nina wopida ichichiapi. Wanawa shinchukte. I want to thank you, Tamara, for the introduction, and I want to thank all of you for this opportunity to speak about the experience of working with the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance the last 2 years. First, I congratulate all the tribes and their representatives in this effort for your accomplishments. I congratulate our South Dakota Congressional Delegation and the Federal Office of Indian Economic Development for their help, and the state of South Dakota and its Secretary of Tourism for their collaboration. And also for individual and groups who assisted and cooperated and collaborated. I thank George Washington University International Institute of Tourism Studies for its role as a neutral bridge and trust builder. I attended most of the meetings of the tribes that created the South Dakota Tribal Tourism Alliance, and I have observed the assessment and planning processes at every step. I was glad to participate, and I am proud of how far you have come. There is no doubt our natural and cultural resources and our people are our riches, And when we can share them with visitors, we will advance their understanding and our tribal economies. The development plan and strategies are sound and achievable if we all continue to work together to problem solve and stay on the path you have envisioned, proceeding with unity, woksape, and trust, and sharing the work. Our success will surely follow. I'm glad to be on that path with you. In closing, I'd like to share a brief story, one on the west side of the state and one on the east side of the state. On the west side of the state, I was very fortunate to travel with my father, Jerry Flute, and through his work with cultural revitalization, language preservation, Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, I used to travel with him quite a bit. And on one of our trips locally, we had visited Charlotte Black Elk on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And we stayed with her a couple of days, and they talked about a lot of stories and a lot of culture and a lot of history, a lot of language. And one of the stories Charlotte had shared was why the Black Hills are so important to our people. And she had taken a satellite image of the Black Hills, and she also had a drawing of the human heart that was placed as a transparency over the satellite image of the hills. And it was a pretty close matchup of the heart. And she had said what she had heard from her early teachings is that the Black Hills is the heart of Mother Earth. And it's one of the reasons why we value it the way we do. The other story I want to share that ties in with tourism and with the many stories that can be shared with those that are wanting to have that visitor experience is one of the Chicha Hollow and the Maya San areas up in our part of South Dakota, up in the northeast part. When visitors were traveling through, there were sounds that they would hear. There were, up in the Maya San area, there were lights that they would see sometimes. And there's a lot of different stories of why these places are called what they are called in our Dakota names. And so I just wanted to share that little bit with you. And there's a very longer story that needs to be shared, but that needs to be left for our tourism departments and those alliances that have been created so that we can expand what we have to offer as far as tourism goes. With that, again, I want to say thank you, congratulate everybody, and I look forward to continuing to see the good work. And if there's anything I can do to contribute, I'm always here to help. Hinana pek te do. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Flute. I also want to mention that Secretary Flute is a member of the Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate or Sisseton Wahpeton Sioux tribe, where he has served as chairman of our nation. The South Dakota Department of Tribal Relations mission includes supporting tribal self-governance, identifying, developing, and coordinating federal, state, and local resources to increase partnerships between state and tribal agencies. He has been a regular participant with the Alliance and has represented us alongside tourism ministries throughout the Americas at the Indigenous Tourism Forum of the Americas, which was held last October. We are very grateful for his support, and you heard his promise, and we will be knocking on his door. Now we turn to the Secretary of Tourism for the state of South Dakota, Jim Hagan. Secretary Hagan served as Secretary of Tourism and State Development under former Governor Mike Rounds, overseeing economic development, arts, history, and tribal relations, as well as tourism. Before becoming Governor Dugard's Secretary of Tourism, Jim worked as National Campaign Director and Public Relations Director for the Crazy Horse Memorial Foundation. Secretary Hagan has been supportive of the Alliance from the very beginning, and his team has been very active in the planning process. We are delighted that he could be here to speak with us today. Please welcome Secretary Hagan.
Thank you, Representative St. John. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to be here today. I feel humbled to be amongst so many friends. I want to thank our tribal chairman for being with us today. Chairman Flying Hawk, thank you so much. Chairman LaKink, I almost called you Chairman Taken Alive. I'm not going to give you a title you don't have yet. Vice Chairman Taken Alive. Chairman Killer, who I know is joining us virtually. I want to call him Representative Killer because worked closely with Kevin when he was a member of the South Dakota House. Miss him in Pierre, but I know he's doing important work down on Pine Ridge as well. I want to take a second here to introduce my team that is with me. If you would stand from the Department of Tourism as well. This staff has been so dedicated to this project. I specifically want to thank Kelvin. Kelvin, would you raise your hand real quick? Kelvin has been our main liaison with the Native Tourism Alliance and really appreciate their help. I want to thank Representative Bordeaux for being here today. You have been a champion, my friend. Thank you, both you and Representative St. John. Appreciate your support so much. And we promise to work with you to get more legislators engaged in this effort as well. It's too important not to, so look forward to that. I also want to thank Selene and Beth, the whole GWU team, the graduate students, Juan, who started on this Alliance initiative as well, Stacy LeConte, who can't be with us here today, Ed Hall, my friend, who I have spoken with over probably the last 6 or 7 years about tribal tourism and what we could do to get this ball rolling. And we're so grateful for the Native Act to have passed, to have helped us in that effort. And I want to thank our friends and colleagues from the North Dakota Tourism Alliance for all of your help that you provided for us. We early on went up as a team, the tourism team, to meet with the Alliance up there, and they couldn't have been more helpful and encouraging to us. So really want to thank our neighbors to the north. At times we're competitors, but on this particular initiative, we see no borders at all. So most importantly though, I want to thank all of our friends who are in this room, and I want to congratulate you. This is a historic day for tribal tourism and for South Dakota. A foundation has been set that is going to serve us very, very well now into perpetuity. So I want to congratulate you from the bottom of my heart and take some time to appreciate what has been accomplished here. It indeed has been, it's been a privilege, as I've mentioned, and a joy to work with this alliance and all the members from the great tribal nations who have been a part of it. When I think about our very first meeting at the Wakpa-Shicha Reconciliation Center in Fort Pierre, it kind of seems like eons ago. In some ways, it seems like just days ago. But how important that first meeting was when we first got together. And some of the outcomes from that meeting, it was more than just laying a foundation for where we're at today. Friendships have been established as a result of this alliance. And that's one of the most important things to me. We have established new friends, lifelong friends, and new colleagues that we will have, like I said, for the rest of our lives. We're so proud of this great work that has been accomplished. The tenacity, as Selene said, the tenacity and the stick-to-itiveness, if I can use that word, that this alliance and these members have shown has been incredible. No one could have predicted that COVID would have hit, this worldwide pandemic. And my first thought when it hit was, one of my very first thoughts was, what does this mean for the alliance? What's going to happen? But as Selene noted, they jumped on Zoom, they jumped online, they continued to meet through these challenging times, putting in, I would guess, collectively, thousands upon thousands of hours to create this plan. The optimism that has come along with that tenacity has been so inspiring too. This is one of the most optimistic groups I think I've ever met with, despite challenges, maybe disagreements here and there that we've been able to work through. The optimism, again, has been something that has just shown very brightly. Again, I want to encourage all of you, let's take the time to appreciate where we're at today, where the hard work has gotten us to. Give yourselves a pat on the back. Do that occasionally. We need that to motivate ourselves. And so Lenny hit on this too, but I remember my very first comments to the Alliance was, let's keep in mind that this is a marathon. This is not a 100-meter sprint. We're in this now for the rest of our lives in perpetuity. This Alliance is here to stay. This initiative is here to stay. So despite any short-term setbacks we may see or any challenges on the horizon, let's just keep in mind that it's the long term. It's the end game, that marathon that we will be in continually, working towards success for this program. You have our commitment from my team and from my department that we will continue to collaborate with you in any way we can. We will always be here for help and assistance. We'll be here for brainstorming. We'll be here to encourage you if you get down at all. Anything that we can do to ensure the success of this Alliance and this initiative, you have got that commitment, not only from me, but from my team members. So congratulations once again. As I said, we are on a great path moving forward. And I know from the bottom of my heart that a very bright and prosperous future is ahead for all of our great tribal nations in this state. And we can't wait to really get going and working with all of you to ensure that future. Thank you for having me today. Look forward to visiting with many of you after the program ends.
Thank you, Secretary. I want to note that Secretary Hagan is from Northeast South Dakota, Sisseton, which means that he is an extra special, smart, great guy. That's right. That's right. Your family is very close with many tribal families there. So thank you. As you can see, we've heard from our chairman, we've heard from tribal leadership and our partners with the state. There are many others. And for those that help us, are helping us to realize our vision. When I first began with tribal tourism, I came in as a historian. I know a whole lot about tourism, but since that time, they helped to make it clear through educating us and, others that have great experience in this, to be able to see, first of all, I believe it's a very pro-sovereignty thing for a tribe to do, to take control of their cultural narrative, and to ensure that they are protecting and preserving what they wish to protect and preserve. And it is also the economic development within our tribe. In the course of this education, there's a couple of things that have been said that really stick with me as I go through this. One of them is the importance of those partners, whether it be your Chamber of Commerce, those that work on a county level or on a state level or national level, because rising tides float all boats. We're all in this together. Another thing that sticks with me is that the importance of what is tourism. And I'd like to believe that one of the most important parts of tourism is that our tribal members to realize and inspire that entrepreneurial inside of them, that for those that want to be a fishing guide, a hunting guide, for those artisans that create items of cultural expression that are super important, and all of those different things that I think can fall under tribal tourism. So it's been a lot of work, and I'm hoping that as we proceed, the rest of our tribal communities, our tribal leaders and others are able to see that vision and the importance of it too. Now we come to the real highlight of our event, where the members of South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance give their own first-person accounts, describing their achievements and outlining the work ahead. In this first year of implementing the strategic plan through a participatory vote. We chose 3 priority initiatives to implement this year. We organized ourselves into action teams, developed work plans and objectives, and began our work on these projects. First, Karen Kern from South Dakota Missouri River Tourism will present the efforts of the first action team and will show us the new logo and website. Please welcome one of my favorite people, Karen Kern.
Thank you, Tamara. Like she said, my name is Karen Kern. I'm the Executive Director of South Dakota Missouri River Tourism. We're located in Pierre at the Oahe Dam Visitor Center. So we see tourists on a daily basis. And we market the river, promote the river from the North Dakota border down to Iowa, Nebraska. And we have 5 of the native tribes within our region. So it's been a real honor for us to be part of this project. It just is a natural thing for us to work on. In February, we started working with the action teams. And as Secretary Hagan said, a lot of Zoom meetings were held, some every other week almost, but they were exciting as they went along, and so many wonderful things were coming out of those meetings. We decided that there were 3 things that we were going to work on. One was a logo for Action Team 1. One was a website. And the third thing that we were going to work on was development of a governance model for the network. I'd like to introduce the people that worked on the team. And anyone who's here, if you want to raise your hand, stand up, whatever you'd like to do. Our action team leaders are Ivan Sorbel of the Pine Ridge Area Chamber of Commerce and Tatewin Means of the Thunder Valley CDC. The team meeting managers are Clark Guthmiller of USDA Rural Development and myself. Calvin Blumendahl from the South Dakota Department of Tourism is our work plan manager, and the communications coordinator is Rilda Means from the Red Cloud Indian School Heritage Center. Additional team members that worked on this were Dixie Thompson of the Octa Lakota Cultural Center and Museum in Chamberlain, Gus and Tiana Yellowhair of Tatanka Res Tours, J.C. Ellsworth of the South Dakota Department of Tourism. And this team was supported by Selene in all of our many Zoom meetings. Today, we're really excited to unveil the logo. You know, when you go through logos or anything like this with committees, it's always quite exciting. But we've come up with what we all think is a really marvelous logo. The logo was developed by Adrian Zminga January, who is Oglala Lakota. Participants agreed that the logo needed to visually reflect the unique beauty and culture of the South Dakota tribal homelands. The main elements that Adrian put into the logo are as follows. The lodge and the teepee is the main focal point, representing all invitation to tribal homelands and the attractions and businesses within them. The 3 circles at the top represent our Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota nations within the state. The buffalo represents the Oyate and the resilience throughout the centuries. The floral part represents the hidden beauty within the tribal borders. The blue water element on the lodge represents the vitality of Miniwachoni and how important it is to the life of the tribal communities. The silhouette of the Black Hills, spruce trees within the outline of the state of South Dakota, and the grasslands extending its borders are spaces are indicative of the spaces Native communities continue to hold dear in their hearts. We also were thrilled to unveil, or are thrilled to unveil, the new South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance website. Background information is going to be found on there, and all the information about the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. You'll find our 5-year plan and other resources on there also. You can learn how to support and become a part of the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance if you have not done that at this point. While our discussions regarding the ideal governance models for the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance is being organized, it will culminate this fall with a panel discussion featuring Indigenous leaders from the United States, Canada, and Latin America. And as we see more of that and learn more of that, we will certainly be bringing that to the entire group also. This is an exciting project. I know all the action teams, not just Action Team 1. We think we're pretty proud of everything, but everybody worked so hard on this, and it's so fun to see it come together. And a big thank you to George Washington University for all their help on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. In our goals of wanting support from all of the stakeholders surrounding tourism, it's already working because we have Senator Maher here, and we thank you for coming and look forward to your support. The second, well, congratulations to the team for creating our beautiful new logo and the first website. From our second action team, please welcome Sarah Kilsenwater from Rosebud Sioux Tribe, who will introduce us to the new community engagement video.
Thank you, Tamara. Ampetu Washte. My name is Sarah Kilsenwater, and I represent the Rosebud Sioux Tribe. I have been an active member of the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance since we first began in August of 2019. I've had the opportunity to work with many of you great people in this room, and many of you have inspired me to work a lot harder, I guess, on my reservation to develop tourism. I have been personally taking the lead for our tribal nation and developing a lot of the framework that's going to go into successful tourism, cultural heritage tourism development on the Rosebud Reservation. So I selected to be a part of Action Team 2, which was to engage tribal leadership. Throughout a lot of our meetings through Zoom and everything, a lot of our group members had to begin to agree with Emily and I that we thought that, you know, although engaging our tribal leadership was our main goal, that we also felt engaging our tribal communities was one of the more important pieces of this work that we were going to be doing. So our action team focused on objectives to increase education and awareness of Native American tourism with tribal nation leadership and communities. Our team leaders are myself, my husband, Frank Kilsenwater, Emily Boyd Valandra. All of us are Sichangu Lakota from Rosebud. We also have Ed Hall, previously of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, James Radlingleaf, who is also Sichangu. I don't know where he's at, but he's in the room somewhere. I seen him earlier. Mark Garcia of the South Dakota Department of Tribal Relations, Jamie Wood, Bob Wyrich, and Bryson Patterson of the Small Business Administration. The team was supported by Stacy Lecomte and Jessica Hovland from GW. Our action team's focus has been on education and engagement for tribal nation leadership and communities about tourism development and the SDNTA. In June, we presented to President Bordeaux and the Rosebud Sioux Tribal Council and had a dynamic and productive discussion about the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance and the opportunities for Native tourism development in tribal nations. The Rosebud Tribal Council was very supportive of the work that we're working on, and they just kind of gave me the go-ahead to do what I need to do to develop things to bring it to them for their approval. So that's kind of what I've been working on through with guidance from Selene and Calvin, Beth. I mean, there's a whole bunch of you that have really been instrumental in helping me to refine and guide the work that we're doing on Rosebud. In addition to meeting with tribal leaders, we felt it was important to create a video to inspire and invite tribal nations and community members and leaders to learn more and join our work. Responsibly developing cultural heritage and outdoor recreation tourism in our homelands. We are pleased to share the video that we developed with you all today.
For generations, our elders have taught us the value of preserving our lands, our cultural traditions, and our history, the foundation of our way of life. Cultural heritage tourism provides Indigenous communities like ours with an opportunity to fulfill the wishes of our elders, to take control of our destiny, and to pass along our knowledge. Tourism can be a way forward for our people. It's a way for us to create jobs, to preserve, protect, and revitalize our cultural traditions, and to share our stories with visitors from all walks of life. It provides an opportunity to dispel stereotypes and misinformation while creating advocates for our culture and traditions. Cultural heritage tourism gives our people a way to educate visitors, share our stories, and our knowledge using our own unique voice, the voice of the Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota people. The time for cultural heritage tourism is now. Please help us to share our wisdom, to support our people, to preserve our past, and determine our future. Please join us.
Thank you, Sarah. What a wonderful representation of our tribal nations. For our third and final action team, please welcome Tia Kafka, Peer Chamber of Commerce, and Mike Namali from the Dakota Indian Foundation, who will introduce the new visitor etiquette video.
Thanks, Tamara. Good morning, everybody. As Tamara said, I am Tia Kafka. I am the CVB Director at the Pierre Area Chamber of Commerce. And I'm also joined today by Mike Normile from Dakota Indian Foundation. We are here on behalf of Action Team 3. Some of our additional members include Jennifer Martell of the Sitting Bull College Visitor Center, Lynn Cooney of the Thunder Valley CDC, Jen Hanna from South Dakota Missouri River Tourism, and Carlene Wild of Dakota News Now. I also want to give a big thank you to Beth Wright of GW for her guidance and support as we developed our video. The Action Team 3 team focused on the creation of a regional visitor etiquette guide and video, both of which can be found on the new SDNTA website.
Thanks, Tia. My name is Mike Normal. I'm with the Dakota Indian Foundation, and I just want to say working with every one of you has been the most incredible 2-year experience. It has been very positive being non-native and being so well accepted with this group and promoting tribal tourism, which has always been real important to me since coming to South Dakota. Many tribal nations have created etiquette guides in the past, but with this continued presence of COVID, we felt it would be useful to have an updated guide in both written and video format to welcome visitors, provide them with the essential information to safely visit reservations and cultural events. One of the things that's really important, and Tamara started out with this morning, that is real important, is that people understand when they travel through tribal nations that there are certain protocols. And what Tamara had said about taking pictures is part of that. Besides the video, which has been, and wait till you see it, it's amazing. One of the things we're also going to be doing for the traveler, and as Tia said, we're going to have written as well as video format. Those are going to be done on a rack card where people can pick them up across the state. And if they're not driving, or even if they are driving and they're interested, they can actually click on a QR code that will take them either to the written format or to the video format. So we will have it in both, and those are next to be developed after this. So I think that that's important because it'll give them a chance to take it with them. So before they enter the reservations, they can stop, they can look and see, is this appropriate? Is that not appropriate? I also had to laugh. A couple of weeks ago, I was up at Laura Brule. They were doing a horse camp, and I showed up like this and ran into Tom Ziegler, and he goes, "You were awfully dressed up." I said, "I know, I'm working with an etiquette guy. I'll be right back. I'm going to get changed." So I went and grabbed a tank top and got rid of the dress clothes. But he was like surprised that I took that step. But when I was on the reservation, and I've known Robert forever, when we were living on the reservation, we did what everybody else did. You go to a powwow, you go to softball games, you go to the powwow, you go to rodeos, you could do whatever. So you got to dress appropriate. This is not the way you dress when you go there, but that's another whole thing. Our team conducted research and developed a simple set of guidelines with the expert guidance of Tamara St. John and Whitney Rainconer. We hope to create additional resources in the future to educate visitors and enhance your tourism experience. Watch the video. You will be impressed, and thank you for your time.
Welcome to South Dakota, home of the Ochete Shakoi, or what's been known as the 7 council fires of the Great Sioux Nation. Pidamaya, thank you for taking the time to familiarize yourself with our traditions, our customs, and our ways of life. Here's some things to consider when you visit. In general, use common sense, wa'ohoda, respect, and understanding. Tribal nations have been impacted by COVID, so you might want to have a mask available in case you're asked to use one. Be sure to wash your hands frequently and social distance when needed. It's important to respect our cultural practices, and here's a few things to keep in mind. Each tribal nation is different, and they have their own protocols, so you might want to do a little bit of research before you come. Powwows, or wachipi, the first thing to know is that there is an announcer or an iyapaha. And look to the announcer to tell you what's happening or what's going to happen. You're going to see amazing regalia, and that's what we call it, regalia, not a costume. Many of the dancers have invested a great deal of time and creativity into the regalia that they wear. Some of the items with their regalia may be sacred, and you're not allowed to touch them. If you'd like to take a photograph of somebody's regalia, be sure that you ask them. If you're unsure about what to wear, you may want to dress conservatively. Often these events are very important to people, and it's important to dress in a way that will show respect. Most importantly, we want you to have a wonderful time, to engage, to ask questions, and really experience the energy and the beauty of our tribal cultures. Safe travels, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much. I will say also that is a really good video. If you saw the outtakes from it, you would think so too. One other thing I want to share, in the part about talking about research, encouraging people to do a little bit of research on the tribes, it's something that I've often told people when they come to visit us, no matter what field or what reason they might be coming to our tribal nations. So I want to share a little bit of a joke that a friend of mine had told me. And she said that she had somebody that was coming from Washington, D.C., and she was so excited to come to South Dakota. And so she did some research, and when she arrived, she said, you know, I've been reading. She said, I saw quite a bit about the Lakota, the Dakota, and the Nakota, but I can't find anything on the Ramkota, she said. So that's one of my favorite jokes for those that have stayed there. What excellent work has been done on these projects. Thank you, Karen, Sarah, Tia, Mike, and all the other Alliance participants for sharing the work from our first year implementing our strategic plan. I'm very impressed by all of them, and I believe they will be very effective tools in our work. Now I give the podium back to Selene, who will moderate the next section of the Alliance Tourism Champions and how they are building strength to strength.
Thank you, Representative St. John. All right, so we're almost at lunch, but this is similar to ended before. This is a very distinguished panel. And so I'd like to make sure that we have time to introduce all these tourism champions. We know that we're at the start of our journey, but there are Native leaders that have been very involved in tourism over the years. And so we felt that this was a very momentous occasion and an opportune time to shine a spotlight on these leaders to ensure that you have a sense of what they're doing and how they're contributing to the Alliance. So it is my great honor to introduce this distinguished panel of champions. They include Mr. Ivan Sorbel, who is Executive Director of the Pine Ridge Chamber of Commerce. We also welcome Jen Martel from the Sitting Bull Visitor Center. She's coordinator of the center. Ms. Rilda Means with the Red Cloud Heritage Center, and Gus and Tiana, yellow hair, of the Tatanka Res Tours. Welcome, champions. And so what we'd like to do is we have a few questions for each of the panelists here, a means of sort of sharing their insights and most importantly, their experiences with tourism. And maybe also insights and ideas for how the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance can contribute to continued growth of tourism here in South Dakota. So why don't we start with Ivan? Ivan, you've served, of course, on the South Dakota's Governor's Tourism Advisory Board for several years now. How do you see your leadership experience at this level influencing your thinking about the potential of Native tourism?
I think that I don't even know how long it's been. Jim, do you know? 10? Is it like 10 years? Something like 10 years. And I remember when I was recruited and when I was confirmed to the board, I felt they're really out of place when I got there. And J.R. LaPlante was the secretary, tribal relations at the time. And we had some discussion about how I could possibly influence activities through the board. And it's a great board, and it didn't take long to fall right in with that group. But I think that over the last decade or so, it's helped not only state tourism, but the tribes as well to have a voice at the table and to start thinking a little more broader about tourism and how tourism can impact not only the nations, but the state as a whole. So that's how I would answer that, Selene.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ivan. And I know we have some wipes as well. So as we pass the mic, if you'd like to just, grab a wipe, please feel free to do so to make sure that we're staying safe at this time. So Jen, why don't we continue on with you? You too have had many years of involvement at the Sitting Bull Visitor Center. How has the center helped to support tourism in Standing Rock?
So the Sitting Bull Visitor Center started 8 years ago. I've never had experience with tourism. I was asked to move into the tourism office, I was asked on Tuesday and I was moving on Wednesday. And then it was, we need to have a grand opening. Can you have it ready by May 15th? So that was like 3 weeks later. To answer that question, there's never a dull moment at the visitor center. I've had over 52 countries come visit. During our Standing Rock movement, I've had about 10 to 11,000 people visit. I've had every walk of life come through, every possible way of being movable or transporting, or from bikes to walkers to runners to electric cars to motorcycle groups to RV groups to it's endless. It's like I said, it's a never a dull moment. It's always interesting to find out who comes in, but the more logist of all of it is the visitor center is really really very supportive of Standing Rock, because we have people that come to Standing Rock, are interested about Standing Rock, they want to know about Standing Rock. And it's kind of cool where I'm at, because Standing Rock straddles between North Dakota and South Dakota. So I got to know what's happening in North Dakota, and I got to know what's happening in South Dakota. I pay attention. I'm like creeping on pages just to, be updated. Yeah. So being a support of Standing Rock is very huge for me. My mother comes from Standing Rock. My family on my father's side comes from Cheyenne River. So there again, I'm straddling between both, but I'm close to the border of where I'm enrolled. And so, yeah, Sitting Bull Visitor Center is very much a very support of Standing Rock. I'm always telling all the good things and great things about Standing Rock.
Thank you, Jen, for being that hub. That is so critical to tourism, the sharing of information and having a place for visitors to come to. And so you've definitely been that steady in Standing Rock. Rilda, so you two have been so involved in interpretation over the years as you've worked at the Red Cloud Heritage Center. And we know that storytelling is a deep passion of yours. So what are those main lessons that you've taken away from your experience as Director of Community Relations and Marketing at the Red Cloud Heritage Center?
So I have some notes. If any of you have been on my tour, I can easily talk for an hour and a half. So first point, anyone can do storytelling. I have worked with many interns, many tour guides, from quiet as a mouse to the ones that will never stop talking. But it's fun to help them develop how to become a storyteller. You have to think of your grandmas and your grandpas and how they tell you those stories, or your teachers, your favorite teachers that got you excited in class. So to bring like these very simple points into training these interns, and it kind of clicks for them, so they're excited to talk, because geez, it's just hard for them to say their name sometimes. My name's Rilda. Just quiet. The second point is to speak from the heart. No matter what you're speaking on, to understand the meaning behind those words that you are speaking. You don't want to be smiling through a story that's hard to tell. Like for us here at Red Cloud, I do talk about boarding school I'm not going to be standing there smiling through it. How creepy is that? But and if you're telling an exciting story like our leaders, our Chief Red Cloud, Crazy Horse, or any of those are our leaders today, you want to make sure you're conveying that energy, right? You're excited. And as you see in all of our chairmen and our leadership from the state and all those that spoke, they had that energy. Because I was drawn in. I don't know about you guys. You guys probably wasn't paying attention, but and you want to make sure like you're leaving your guests with those feelings, because when you speak from the heart, you're sharing those feelings, right? And that's what they're going to remember. And the goal is to always have them share those stories and keep that ripple effect going, because that's how we share our history, we share our truth and our voice, is to make sure we're interesting enough where they remember it. They remember how you made them feel, or you made them cry and laugh in 2 minutes. That's a really important thing about storytelling. Like Gus, like he will have you laughing and hurting the whole time you're with him. And do research. Pick a speaker, research yourself on a speaker that you truly enjoy, and pull those points that you love about them, like that you want to convey, that you want to take on as well. And it's also okay to change your story. I finally, I'm kind of happy COVID happened in a way, because like I have an outdoor tour now. So I can do the whole campus of Red Cloud and show our guests, like we have 6 gardens on our campus now and a new chicken coop. We have this really cool outdoor activity area for our students, our football, our cross country area, basketball. So I lost where I was. So I changed my indoor lecture tour that I just absolutely disliked to this tour that I really love now. And all of our guests love it. Like I have guests that return every year, and to hear them say, this one's the best one now. I like this one because I get to see things. I can see where you guys are going with the school, with the Heritage Center, and your pastoral. So it's okay to change those stories. So do your research and keep improving yourself, right? Because we're never gonna be perfect. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for those great tips, Brilda, and for all your contributions too. So Gus and Tiana, you are the only registered Native tour operator in South Dakota. Isn't that impressive? Father-daughter duo. And so we'd love to learn what really led you to decide to join forces as a multi-generational team to pursue your entrepreneurship aspirations. Tell us more about your journey.
Lakota Chajami Talki, Tachunke Naji Imachapel, Awashichukta is worn Gus Yellow Hair, Hemi Elo. So I give each and every one of you a heartfelt handshake. I told you my Lakota name was Tachunke Naji, his horse is standing, and my English name, Warren Gus Yellow Hair. So those of you that don't know me, you're very unlucky now, So yeah, really, we're really excited to be here, and I'll get right into that. I just had to remove the mask a little bit. I mean, it's great, it's hides the double chin, so yeah, among other things, So yeah, so the father and daughter team, we started several years ago. I actually done some work with Mr. Sorbo with the Pioneer Area Chamber of Commerce. He asked me to do some tours, so we did that. And then my daughter was in high school, and she said, "Dad, there's a scholarship for a business entrepreneur." And I said, "You're speaking to the right one." I said, "My friends call me ultra manure type of guy, So, but yeah, so he said, so I said, the thing I think what you could do is you could kind of look into doing tourism. I said, I think that's a field that's wide open, not only here on Pine Ridge, but here in the original Ochete Shakoi Makoche, the lands of the 7 council fires." And so we talked about it, and it was I told her, what I had experienced working with Ivan, and we just shared, and it just grew from there. So it's really been exciting. I think I talked to my daughter, and I said, well, maybe you should just chime in on some of this too. So we're going to share the mic here.
Hamitakepi, Chante Washten Ape Chuza Bigsto, Washituya mi Chajeki, Tiana Yellow Hair, Eya Lakota mi Chajeki, Shahila we Exto, Na Shahila na Malakota. Hello, I greet you with a heartfelt handshake. My English name is Tiana Yellowhair, and my Lakota name is Shahilawi, meaning Cheyenne woman. And of course, I'm Northern Cheyenne and also Oglala Lakota. I greeted you first. It's customary to do that in Lakota culture. And so to answer the question, he kind of explained to you about how we started out, going on our 7th year this year. And when he explained the idea of tourism to me, and I guess they called us a duo, father-daughter duo. To me, that in my eyes, I saw opportunity, right? Because as a young Native person on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, just like any reservation, there's hardly any opportunity for anything. There's hardly any jobs. There's, other than college. And so I decided, well, when he brought the idea up, I thought it would be, very awesome for us to do this because it creates opportunity for me and so I can create opportunity for my children. And so, yeah, and, and some of the, I guess, the highlights of our journey together towards entrepreneurship, we started as a startup business, out of pocket money. There was no institution that, was comfortable lending to us as a startup. And throughout the years, we were able to gain their trust, show them what we bring to the table as a not only father-daughter team, but also the age difference. I'm 26 and my father is 62, and I'm going for my bachelor's in Lakota studies with an emphasis in Lakota language. And so having those, the knowledge of the history, the culture, the language, this is one of our biggest highlights. And I hope that, what we show to not only the younger generation in our communities, but also of the other 9 tribal nations as well, that even though there's a rough road ahead, it's still, you can come out the other side. I guess you would call us champions, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiana. This is wonderful. And we'd like to maybe do a bit of rapid fire. This is the last question. It's the same question for each of you, and it's reflecting on your contributions. Each of you have been so integral to the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. And so we'd love to hear from you what vision you see for the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. So Ivan, would you like to give us your thoughts on that first?
I think that there's a great opportunity to expand tourism as an economic driver in Indian country, and I think there's a niche market there that is not being filled the way that it could be. And I know it's taken a long time. I've been doing this for quite a few years now, close to 20 years. In working in this arena, but I think that the partnerships that we've gained over the last 2 years with each other across Indian country and across South Dakota are making those ideas come forward and generating new ideas and even some old ones that were around quite a while ago that are coming back around. And I think that this group and this we're not an organization. I'm on team 1. We're not there yet.
Yes.
But I think that this group has really brought some of that to the top and can expand that market, that industry, and the economics. And I think it's going to be beneficial when we just need to stay the course and stick with it and keep progressing in that way. So
thanks for your wise thoughts. Jen, what about you? What are your thoughts?
We're a working progress, but I want to be the new South Dakota tourism director. And I think with that, we've really brought a lot of our communities, our nations, our leaders, our go-getters, our movers and shakers to the table. I really think we can make a difference. And our community, community to community, is a huge factor. Just this past weekend, just a sample of, I collaborated with Lemon, South Dakota. The Lemon Chamber of Commerce reached out to me and asked, how do we bridge Standing Rock and how do we bridge Standing Rock and Lemon, South Dakota? I never did a cycle event ever. I haven't ridden a bike in ages, but it was a challenge and I said, bring it on. It was very successful. We had many riders. When the time was of planning, I was the crazy lady that was stopping cyclists along the road. I made trips out to the Black Hills because there's a lot of cyclists and giving out flyers. But that in itself, we need to bridge community. A lot of things that I was able to talk about a Standing Rock, they didn't know. And I'm like, okay, so this really means that all of our counties within South Dakota don't even know about who we are. And I'm like, God forbid, what are we doing? So I'm hoping other communities can start bridging with other outside communities because if not, we're miscommunicating. We're being misrepresented. They just know of what they know because they are our neighboring community. And now I have new relatives in Lemon, South Dakota, but yeah, it's that will bridge community, but bridge the economic for Standing Rock and for Lemon.
Wonderful. So partnerships, creating bridges, connections. Rilda, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I have all of those listed here. But I mean, just to echo off again, guys, I mean, hear it 3 times, it's gonna stick, right? But yeah, to bring awareness, and that's the vision I have from this group, like the outcome, to bring awareness to South Dakota, but not just South Dakota, our guests that travel from around the world, and to educate them. I hate to say it, but Native people are looked at as fairies and mythical, They come and they get so excited to learn who we are and what's different about us from other tribes. And it's exciting to share and bring that awareness and to educate, and to build partnerships. Like I see all these leadership folk here, and I'm going to remember your faces because I'll be that person and be like, so-and-so is there. You need to go talk to them because like if they have all the answers for you. Sorry, but I will be that person. But these partnerships are important because we won't be able to grow without you. We won't be able to keep stepping forward without you. Even those of you that are learning here today, without you going out and sharing this, we won't be able to grow. We won't be able to do this work. So I encourage you to go and share this, what you've heard today, even if it's just one piece, at least you're sharing. But also the biggest thing is self-sufficiency and economic growth. It's, our people have such a rich culture, and Gus and Tiana explained that very well in their tours, and to build our people up. In their culture. And to share that with the world is beautiful. Our people deserve that. They've deserved this for a long time. And to see them grow and be able to sell their artwork, or to share their family stories, or to share a laugh, that's important. I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna keep crying.
Thank you so much, Wilda.
Relda, thank you for that. Just really emotional there, and just for us, Tatanka Reds Tours, it's a new beginning, and building partnerships with the state of South Dakota. You guys stepping up and being part of the team. Going to make this happen. There's still more. A long ways that we've got to go. But working together, building these cultural bridges is like the term that Tiana and I like to use, and getting to know visitors that, like Ralda said, coming from the four directions. We're sharing this beautiful world together. Many nations of people coming here to the Uchimaka, as we call it. Some tribes call it Turtle Island, but to make a life here, to reach out and try to understand and respect one another for who they are, who we are, each and every one of us. So I see great opportunities in these partnerships with what was shared with us by, I always say George Washington University. Oh yeah, so Georgetown University. I got it mixed up the first time, but
They're in the same
yeah,
place.
yeah. But just building those partnerships, I think that's a powerful thing. Moving forward with our stories, and coming to an understanding, and for our children, generations to come. What we're starting right here, like that Mr. Tourism of the Year here said, when Mr. Hague, he said, it's going to continue on, and so that's the hope that we're building, and just trying to empower, our young relatives. When we do our tours, it's a female perspective and the male, and the age as well, younger generation, older, things that I've experienced, all the hardships that, that bring out a lot of emotions. Those are the healing things that, we got to do, and we got to move forward. That's the way I see it. Hechetuelo.
So the opportunities that I see, as an example, is one right here. We probably would not all be in the same room together if this was not, this didn't come to present time. And so I see this as something growing and, showing not only ourselves, our family, but, the future generations to come up, and so I think that not also the opportunities that George Washington University, a lot of the Selene, Beth, Stacy, of course, the Pioneer Area Chamber of Commerce, Rilda Means, just Miss Jennifer Martel, everybody that's up here, all the opportunities that we are not only given today and in the future tomorrow. Also, I would like to see it for collaboration with a lot of the younger generations. I'm pretty sure on all 9 Indian reservations here in South Dakota, there's a lot of young people who have a lot of big dreams, a lot of big goals. I have young people who message me daily on social media who want to work for me, and they want to get that experience. And so the tools and all the help and everything that they have, not only George Washington University, but everybody a part of this team has offered, can be offered to them, because it's really hard. It's really hard to start from the bottom with no, advisement, nothing. And so I think that that's a really big opportunity for us and for the future generations. If you allow me, thank you.
So well said. Thank you to Gus, Tiana, Rilda, Jen, and Ivan for sharing your wisdom, for sharing your emotions, sharing your insights with us, and for being a part of this important fledgling alliance. So we're going to start to wrap up now. Thank you for staying on. We know it's been a long morning, but hopefully filled with lots of good things that you can see in the making here. So we'd like to start with expressing our gratitude. Today is really a culmination of so much. And so before we close our program with a prayer and lunch, I would like to express our deepest appreciation to the tribal leaders who joined us today. The Dakota the South Dakota congressional delegation as well, and to our honored guest speakers. Thank you so much, Secretary Hagan and Secretary Flute as well, who is joining us virtually. And also all the other representatives that took time out to be with us today. We extend our sincere thanks to all the SDNTA participants and everyone attending today. A special thanks to Representative St. John for her invaluable contribution as MC. Impressive. A round of applause, please. To the Journey Museum and Learning Center's wonderful team, Troy Kilpatrick, Executive Director, Tammy Mislet, who is Customer Service Manager, and Alyssa in the back, Alyssa Hensrud, who is Marketing Manager. Thank you for your genuine and heartfelt hospitality. Many thanks as well to the GW team. This is a long list, but these have been individuals who have worked day in and day out for many months and to make today possible. And I'd like to recognize Beth Wright, or Fearless Beth Wright, who has really been the project manager, ensuring that all the aspects of this project coordinated and came together so well. To Dew Bad Warrior, Dew, where are you? Is Dew here? So Dew is really responsible for today and all the details surrounding today. And she's been also assisting with outreach, and we hope to see a lot more of Dew. She's relatively new to our team, but of course will be continuing with us. To Stacy Lacombe. Stacy was not able to join us today, but Stacy has been an integral part of the GW team from day one in North Dakota, extending to South Dakota. So Stacy, I know that you're joining us virtually. Thank you from the bottom of all our hearts for everything that you've done. Ali Moran, here's Dew. Dew, can you say hi? Dew? We just recognized you. So this is Dew Bad Warrior. To Ali Moran. Ali, do you want to say your princess wave? Ali has been really instrumental in helping us to outreach with tribal leaders. And so thank you for all your contributions so far to the effort, Ali. And while they're not here, there are a bunch of graduate students that have been supporting this initiative and are online: Catalina Navarro, Sasha Samoa, Tessa Perkins, our very own South Dakotan, Jessica Hovland, who has helped with the action teams, Sarah Jane Johnson, Danette Thomas, and Jana Pruitt, who worked tirelessly to make today a success. And to Kirk Holstein, so Kirk is here, to Calvin, to JC, and all other colleagues at the South Dakota Department of Tourism under the great leadership of Secretary Hagan for your tremendous support and partnership. Also, special thanks to the Office of Indian Economic Development, without whose support today would not be possible. So thank you so much, Denise, and others there. And I'd like to close off with I would say an uber thank you to a mentor and guide to everything that we've done here in South Dakota. Mr. Ed Hall III, who is not with us today, has been so instrumental to visioning what is possible throughout Indian country and especially here in the Dakotas. So Ed, thank you so much for really providing your wisdom to this initiative, and we wish you were here with us, but we're grateful for all that you've given to making today possible. So today we celebrate one journey's end and another's beginning. We have a plan. Now the team and its partners will continue to implement this plan. Today is a celebration of what has been achieved and a commitment to the future. The vision and the promise of the South Dakota Native Tourism Development. It's a good time for a prayer, and I would like to bring back Representative St. John to introduce who will say this prayer and lead us to lunch. Thank you.
We are making a small adjustment in our schedule. We are going to finish the last two items on our agenda, and then we will move into lunch. Let's see. We have a special group of people with us here today. Thank you all. Sure, you bet. Now, these people are really fun to work with. Can you tell? It's never a dull moment, always interesting. We have a special group of people with us here today. The North Dakota Tribal Tourism Alliance. The North Dakota Alliance has been working on tourism development for 5 years. They are a sister project to the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance, and we'd like to invite the NDNTA Board of Directors to raise their hands and be recognized. Any of the board here, please raise your hand. We'd also like to introduce Darian Morset, who is the president of North Dakota Native Tourism Alliance Board of Directors and heads up the MHA Nation Tourism Office. Please welcome Darian Morset.
Thank you, Tamara. I guess I really don't have to introduce myself. Tamara got all of it. But yeah, I'm Darian Morset. I'm the Mandan Hidatsa Rikra Tourism Director in Newtown, North Dakota. And I'm on my first term as president of North Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. So with that, I have to say congratulations to the South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance. Coming in here and sitting, listening to all the great speakers that came on first and hearing heartfelt stories and seeing the development that's taken place is tremendous. The South Dakota Native Tourism Alliance is doing a great job. I really, really appreciate everybody's hard work that goes into this. We've been at it for 6 years and you have a lot of good progress that I've seen. I just totally went away from my speech, but that's all right. Sometimes I'm just better talking what I feel. But it's telling our own story, you know, getting our leaders to believe in what we're doing so they can help fund our projects and going into our entrepreneurs that are on a reservation and enabling them to have income, make income, you know, developing your tours, getting your whole community involved. MHA, we're on our local, you know, Chamber of Commerce board. Partnering is huge, huge. I've heard that, you know, so many times coming through. I think I've been at this 10 years, going on 11. Ivan, I heard, was at 20. It is a slow progress, but the results will be there at the end. You know, with everything that you go through, you go up and down, but if you have your support from your tribal leaders and state leaders, you know, it's going to happen because cultural heritage tourism is huge. And that's what people want to, that's what they want now after the pandemic of staying home for a whole year, not doing anything. Yeah, you have the cities, everybody's been to the cities, but now they want to come and visit. They want to do hands-on experiences. They want to know what you do. They want to put up teepees. They want to do basket making, you know, get involved with cooking, and gardening is huge. 6 gardens. I barely handle 2, 3 when I was maxed out at 3, you know. But yes, that's huge. You know, our traditional gardens, our heirloom seeds, you know, making a traditional meal out of them and serving it to them and letting them know this is what we ate. You know, we just didn't eat greasy stuff. You know, we were healthy. We were healthy and we lived long lives and we were strong. So that's very important, you know, being able to tell our story, who we are. And that's what we do. you know, when George Washington came aboard, you know, we were, you know, okay, well, we'll go for it. You know, all right, all 5 tribes in North Dakota. So we went through, you know, some trainings with them, which were very important to get us, you know, get us in line. And okay, this is our vision, this is our strategy, this is our goals. So we had many planning sessions with them, and eventually came to a familiarization tour, you know, to get an assessment going. So we all did that, and they were able to assess where we're at, our strengths, our weaknesses, and all that that came with it. But we just finished a round of, you know, test tours. We did, MHA Nation did theirs, Spirit Lake did theirs, and I wasn't able to attend Standing Rocks, but they were very successful. But there's always room for improvement. You know, we can always improve on what we're doing and how we're doing things. You know, take constructive criticism on how we go about it. And our tour is never the greatest. There's flaws in there, but with the help of George Washington, you know, going through it, and it'll come out. And I like your website. Your website's great. You know, your etiquette, all of that. We have our website up. We have our Native American Cultural Tour where we can start booking on that site now. And I also like you guys have it on video, your powwow etiquette and, you know, your other one you had there. So that is pretty good. Yeah, this is totally something else. Yeah, I just went out the window, I just threw it away, but you know, yeah, need bifocals, sorry. But you know, some of the hard work with George Washington that, you know, you guys are right at the step of doing, you know, is, like I said, we completed our test tours, which, you know, we'll have 2 more to go. 3 more. 2, right? Sisseton and Turtle Mountain. Yep. Okay, we've hired a contractor for tour operations, you know, to kind of go over our website, get our tour operating manual in place. So that's done. We launched our Native American tours, cultural tours. So that's our booking site that we use, and developed with George Washington, of course. You know, these are all with George Washington, MOUs and service agreements that come along with, you know, booking tours through Native American Cultural Tours or NACT. So that's, you know, that's our booking site right now. That's what we're using. And we implemented organizational governments and documents that, you know, we're just not winging it out there. You know, that's very important. You stay together. There's a process to everything. You know, I'm talking to some of you professionals here, but this is what we had to go through in order to get to where we're at. So, and, you know, the powwow etiquette and stuff, you know, tourism surveys, we have grant writing with Otto Bremer, and we partner with North Dakota Tourism. That was my first start. And that's where North Dakota Native Tourism Alliance is at. You know, partnering is tremendous, it's strong, it's powerful. There's so much opportunities, you know, so much assistance that they can give you. You just reach out to them, you know, just consistently be there, and then it starts coming back to you. That's the biggest thing. If you're not consistent, it won't bother with you. And Ayanta is a huge partner with us. You know, we had one of our tribal members from MHA was on a board for the Great Plains region. Was it Great Plains? Yeah, but you know, something happened there where he just had to step away for a little while. And our team for North Dakota Native Tourism Alliance is pretty strong. We have Eric Greatcloud is on there also, Barb Little Owl, who was addressed, and Jen. But I see tremendous growth in what you guys are doing. And I'm really, really proud of what you guys are doing. And you're taking huge strides. You know, that's the biggest things. You're moving forward. Appreciate it. Again, thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you, Darian. Darian has been an awesome chair and director of our organization. You forgot me, but that's all right. Next, we have on our agenda, we have invited Miss Hisapawi Lauren McNabb to share information about the Black Hills Powwow, one of the premier American Indian cultural events in the United States, located in the sacred Black Hills. The powwow attracts hundreds of dances, singers, artisans, and thousands of spectators from around the world. Lauren is the current Miss Hisapawi. Please welcome Miss Hisapawi, Lauren McNabb.
Hamatakiapi, Chantewashtenape Chiujapi, Dakota Chaze Pehandu Tamani Himie, Nawashichu Chaze, Lauren McNabb Makiapi, Tatankanaji Hamantaha, Taka Calgary Edwati. Hello, my friends and relatives. I shake your hand with a good heart. My name is Lauren McNabb, and I shared my Dakota name with you, which is Red Crane Walking Woman. I'm from the Standing Buffalo Reserve in Saskatchewan, Canada, but I make my home in Calgary, Alberta. And I would just like to say that I really I understand what you guys are talking about when you say that you have such a beautiful landscape here. The tourism is amazing. The first time I came to the Black Hills in 2017, I just felt like it was a sense of homecoming as part of the Ocheti Shakoni. And I've always come back for the powwow ever since. And just every time I come back to the Black Hills and with the people I come with, they're not always from the Ocheti Shakoni. They too feel like they have a sense of belonging here. That's the best way I can describe it. And I truly applaud all of your guys' commitment to bringing trying to find the right words, creating the right space to tell your stories, to share your knowledge about the Black Hills, and creating those conversations that are going to help our people in the long run. A bit about the powwow I'm so excited to talk about. The first time I had come to the Black Hills powwow, it was just like a cultural awakening, I would say. The dances, the amazing grand entry where they had Custer's flag, that just brought a tear to my eye. It was so emotional to see. And just the dancers, the drumming, the amazing champion drummers and dancers that come, they just make the powwow beautiful. It's my most favorite powwow. Even if I wasn't Miss Hisapa, I would be telling you it is my favorite powwow. Just the people, hearing the language everywhere you go, spoken from just young kids up to the elders. It's just an amazing sense of just home is just the best way I can describe it. Yes. So for those of you who don't know what goes on at our Wachipis, our powwows are really important to us because there was a time in our history where those kinds of celebrations weren't allowed. We were legally not allowed to do them. And just for me personally, that's why I take so much pride in being a dancer and being able to attend those types of celebrations, is because my ancestors couldn't do that. And I know a lot of my friends and relatives feel that same way, that there's just such a powerful feeling in being able to have that ability to do things that we weren't supposed to do. And I'm so happy that we have brought it back to where to like the level it's at now. And powwows are so important to us because they bring us all together. They allow us to share and exchange ideas and knowledge, and just to be together and be ourselves, be beautiful Native people. And I just love the sense of community it brings to everybody, even if you're not from the Ochatish or even Indigenous. I have many friends who are not Indigenous who just love that sense of community at the powwow. Like you're always welcome there. And yes, and so at our powwow, you can see all of the different types of dancing. I know that they have different exhibitions for other types of dances that aren't usually the common standard. So usually we have the 3 women's categories: the women's jingle, the women's traditional, the women's fancy, and we have 4 men's categories: the men's traditional, the men's grass, men's fancy, and the men's chicken. And they all travel everywhere and they showcase their style. And I'm just sorry. I'm just so happy to see that they're so proud of who they are. I love seeing the different dancers and they're like really showcasing their styles. That's why I love powwow so much. I just love it. I'm really thankful for the board of directors and the Black Hills committee for bringing me out here to speak. It's been 2 years, so a bit rusty. I'd like to thank Do Bad Warrior. She's our vice president of the Wachipi. She always does such a beautiful job organizing, and well, as you guys heard, she's an amazing person to have on your team. And I'd like to recognize Nick Hernandez, somewhere in the audience, yes, from the board of directors. And yes, I'm just really thankful to be included. I'm really grateful to listen to all of your insights on what you're going to be doing. And I just really look forward to seeing how you guys move forward. It's really exciting, and I hope that a lot of other nations look to you guys as an example and take that initiative, because when one of us succeeds, we all succeed. So again, I'm in awe of your guys' work, and it's truly inspirational. And I hope that someday I can get to that level where I'm just so confident and passionate and ready to go and make change happen. And yes, Piramaya wo Pidatanka Echichiapi Hanana Pekte.
Miss Hisapawe, I think you're already at that level. You did so well. It's nice to know that our future includes young people like yourself. Very inspirational. Now we have a very special presentation. I think if people saw this on the agenda, this would have been the deciding factor on whether or not to come. This is Lisa Ironcloud, Arlo and Lisa Ironcloud. They are special chefs, and they have prepared our lunch today. And they are going to come to the stage and tell us a little bit about the lunch that they have created.
Hamatakiapi, Arlo Ironclaw Macha. I'm here with my sister, my brother Luke and Linda. Let them introduce themselves. And should I just talk about the food now, or?
Yeah, do you want to talk about the tamales at least?
So Lisa's not here right now with me. I apologize for that. And she wanted to be here, but she's playing with this new recipe right now, and you guys get to be our first tasters. So what we're doing, what she prepared for you today is a blue corn masa bison tamale. Inside of it, you're gonna find a poblano pepper. It's not hot. and mushroom, zucchini, onion, and I got to tell you, it is delicious. It is just outstanding. So there are two versions of this. There's a meat version and then there's a non-meat version. So if there's anybody out there that is a vegetarian, just so you know that the masa, when you prepare it, you have to use a lard. And with the no meat, she didn't use the bison talo. So just to add a little bit of flavor to it, it's infused with bison fat, essentially. So it's really, really good. I look forward to you guys trying this. And Luke and Linda, they have some wonderful things prepared for you as well. I'll let them talk about a bit about it, but I guarantee you all the work that we poured into this, you guys are going to taste it in your meal today. You guys are going to have a great experience.
This is my husband, Luke. He doesn't really like speaking in public. So hi to everybody. It's such an honor to be here. Such an honor to prepare food for you all. Food that is also medicine. There are so many amazing medicines in the food that we've prepared for you today. Even in the tamale, my sister, poblano peppers are very well known, and all of the other chiles are very well known for lowering blood pressure, even stabilizing blood sugar. So, all of these indigenous foods are really medicinal. I was not born and raised in South Dakota. I'm a transplant, and I have to tell you that it has been such like the greatest honor of my life to marry a Lakota and to have Lakota children and to live and be here. It really has. It's just, such beautiful people, and the land is so beautiful. I have so many friends who are like, I'm going to go on a vacation to the ocean, or I'm going to go on a vacation to the mountains. But have any of you ever, South Dakota and North Dakota has some of the last intact prairie in the world. And so if you have ever, if you've never been on a prairie, right, and a beautiful, vibrant prairie, maybe in the month of June, the middle of June, when the butterflies are flying around and the bees are buzzing and, the flowers are blooming and there's purple and yellow and true pink and stuff everywhere around you. It's just, you guys can feel it, can't you, right now? It's just one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I can't believe more people don't say, you know what? Let's go to South Dakota. Let's go to the prairie. Let's visit some of the most beautiful, amazing people in the world. And, it's just such an amazing thing. And so I'm an ethnobotanist. In case you can't tell, I'm a plant person. And I teach about how to use plants for food and medicine. And so the food that we've prepared for you today has a lot of my, that work that I do put into it. And my husband, I'm very lucky to be married to a plant person as well. So what we've put together for you, I have to tell you just real quick. I know you guys want to go, but and that you want to eat. But so I actually put baskets together for North Dakota's tourism a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know if any of you guys got to see the baskets, but literally we got the call 2 days ahead of time, and they said, "Can you put 8 baskets together? We have some people visiting, and we really want something that exemplifies North Dakota." And so, we made. If any of you have had corn wasna, that's toasted corn. We put hand harvested dried wild cranberries in it and maple sugar, like that. We actually tapped the maple trees and boiled the sap down into our own sugar. It's amazing. So we put the corn wasna in there. We put our own choke cherry jelly that we, when we heard about it, the very next day we were out harvesting choke cherries to make jelly to put into these baskets. We put I'm the food sovereignty coordinator up at United Tribes Technical College in Bismarck. And we put a United Tribes mug in there, and we put a hand harvested medicinal tea blend in there of rose hips, wild mint, and nettles. So it was this gorgeous and anti-inflammatory, immune boosting tea blend that these folks got. That's just how much heart we love to put into what we do. And so what we've prepared for you today is a stuffed milkweed pod. So if any of you are familiar with the milkweed plant that the monarchs love, and in fact, if you don't know milkweed, there's actually some growing in the center of the flower bed that's right out the door. So we did a stuffed milkweed pod that we stuffed with wild onions that we harvested this spring, and bison and some thyme, wild thyme from our garden. We also prepared a bison wild boar wild rice meatball for you with hand harvested wild rice that was harvested by friends of ours in a canoe. And we put some, a little bit of garlic and I feel like something else in there. I feel like there was another spice in there, of course, you know, but very like so flavorful. Arlo was stealing them from you guys earlier and eating them. So, so you can ask him how good they are. And then there's a little bit of maple squash. So squash that's grown, winter squash grown from our garden, butternut and a type of pumpkin grown from our garden with our own maple syrup coating it and some slivered toasted almonds. So all indigenous food, all indigenous ingredients, you know, all hand harvested with prayer and love. And we hope you guys really enjoy that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Spirit plate? All right. I'm sure like everybody, I'm absolutely starving now. And I just want to thank everybody, our speakers, especially the organizers. It's a great day for South Dakota, for Native tribal tourism, and for everyone who has contributed to the development plan and its publication. I can't wait to hear about the progress all of us are making, what strategies have been successful, what goals have been reached, what jobs have been created, and how many visitors served. Thank you all for attending today, and thank you to everyone for allowing me to be a part of this today. In closing prayer, we'd like to invite Gus and Tiana Yellowhair from Tatanka Res Tours. They will be doing our closing prayer, and we will also have a closing drum song from Stampede. Thank you.
Our way of beliefs, we honor our loved ones that passed on. Journey, so some of that food, my granddaughter hold that, future generations, things that we do, tourism, partnerships, but all this is that greater to help us with this. He said there are many, many, many things that we have to do yet. You know, Chesapa talked here. You know, there's still some of those issues there that we've got to do with the federal government, you know, all that tourism, all that. So we're praying for the future of that. So I'm going to ask you to join me in this prayer. I'm going to ask you to center your nahi, your energy. The Christian world calls it a spirit. We call it a nahi. But this nahi has to be fed, just like our spiritual bodies, fed with prayer, thought, meditation, song. There's so many things that we have to do. At the time for short, very best that we can. So I'm going to ask you to stand. That way's the west. I'm kind of confused when I came in. Anybody? The west there. We're going to offer the west direction, then north, and then south. And you can just stand up there. Help me with this prayer. Pray for yourself. Pray for your families, your loved ones. Pray for you. I can't do the drum at the same time. And so, and yeah, and the things that we're working towards, you know, the peace, the healing, the understanding of one another, who we are as people, different cultures.
Wakataka, Pilama ya yellow, Pilama ya yellow, Wana ya no, Wene, Waka taka pilama ya yellow. Pilama ya yellow. Wane ya no hey hey. Waka taka pilama ya yellow. Pilama ya yellow. Wana hey no no. Baby you want. Oh she a che chichi ya yoka. Ama ya lu cha cha. Pilama ya yellow. Wane ya no wene. Waka taka pilama ya yellow. Pilama ya yellow. Wane ya no wene. Waka taka pilama ya yellow. Pilama ya yellow. Wana hey ya no wene yo wan. Tukashira wakantanka. Tukahea. Takushkashka. Let me add Tashuke Najia Ke Usha Hoye Chichelo. Tokea Wopila Chichelo, Petewoste, Uyaku, Kalecha Mini Luza, Oyanke, Telechi on Hippie, Letaku Wogla Kapi, Helila Wopila Hedja Tankat. Hena Lena Tiwahe was tested tan hippie, Hena Iha Awayankayo, Nawashagayo, Aisha Keheje, Dono Kuji Tipik de Papi, Dono Wakanki, Dono Wakanja, Dono Wablencha, Hena. Dona tipi nichapi, na lila otapi tukashla, kichi to opkapi, soldier boys and soldier girls, na tukashla. Na iha awayon kayo, betu kile, woyu tikile usha hoye chichelo, tukashla, na isha keche, michunks, na mithakusha tukashla, ila ushi kapi. Amichi wayon kayo, tukashla, hoye chichelo, betu kile. Itako yas.